now that we have our sphere, what we're gonna do is create the mouthpiece. So we have to turn a chunk of clay into a rectangle. It can be any size rectangle, but it has to be a rectangle. So I'm just gonna start actually by making it a coil. So by rolling it into a coil shape, you can just use your hands kind of like this to roll it into a coil. And then what I'm gonna do is make it flat on all sides to turn it into a rectangle. So I'm just hitting it on the table or your board to turn it into a rectangle. I'm turning it on all sides. And then I'm going to make 2 cuts in it. So it can start off kind of longer than you need it to be because we're going to trim both edges. We're gonna have one edge that is a straight cut and then one edge that is a slanted cut. So I'm just gonna use a needle tool and I'm gonna cut through it. This is gonna be the straight cut. It's easier to do on a table. So I just made a little straight cut there. And now on this side, I'm gonna make it a slanted cut. So I have about a 45-degree cut on this side, and I have a straight up and down cut on this side. And your rectangle, it needs to be, like I said, it can be longer or shorter, that doesn't really matter, as long as it can fit a popsicle stick through it. So this is definitely wide enough for that. Stick through this, and I want to make sure I place it in the center. So before I push the popsicle stick all the way through, I'm just going to check to make sure that's in the center. So it needs to go a little bit lower to the side. And now I will make sure it goes all the way through. And like I said, it needs to be centered. So I'm just going to hold it steady, pushing the popsicle stick through until it goes out the other end. Okay, so now I have the edge that is tilted on this side, and this is the straight edge, and I'm going to poke this into my sphere, but it has to go right at the top. That's why it's tilted, so it kind of fits along this tilted line. So I'm gonna make sure, I'm just gonna hold my finger right there to make sure it's directly on the top. Okay, so then I have to be careful that I don't smoosh my ball. And there we go. Now it is right at the top. And what I have to do now is score and slip it. So like I said, if you want to make yours shorter, you can. Even at this point, if you're like, okay, that looks a little bit too long for what I'm going to be creating, then you can still trim it at this point. So now what we're going to do is our normal score and slip method. So I just have to kind of outline with my needle tool around where I'm placing the mouthpiece so that I can score both sides. So I do have to pull it back out and score here and also score on the other side, and really make sure you don't add too much slip at this step. It's really important because it's harder for the whistle to work if you add too much slip. So now I'm going to go ahead and score also this, and that is being connected. So I'm currently scoring the slanted edge. Like I said, don't add too much. Okay, amount of slip, but not too much. And then I'm going to put the popsicle stick back in, and it's gonna stay in for a while now at this point, until we get our whistle to work. Okay, so now what we have to do, we're keeping the popsicle stick in here. It's important that it stays in here. But what we're doing now is blending it. So I'm going to use either my thumb or a popsicle stick to completely blend that line. I'm moving it around on all sides and I'm pulling the clay. See, I'm pulling the clay on all sides to get it nice and smooth. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now this is fully combined. It's blended all the way around. You can see this mouthpiece is in the correct spot, and we can't see the seam where it connects. So this is perfect. We're ready for the next step, which is to actually get the whistle to work by creating a hole. This is what you need today.